There was one spectacular play that really stands out in this game.
Sure was. It's the punt return that Marcus Jones had. I'm going to get to that, but speaking of feet and footwork, my God, that off-platform throw that May had to Tyquan Thornton, it basically almost hit him in his face. That's the stuff that gets you excited. Like, more so than the touchdown run. It's that throw, like scrambling. Like, keep it alive, keep it alive. I'll just throw a 25-yard dart, just right a little 1-foot window, and just have Tyquan Thornton right off your fingertips.
What a bum. I hate using that word. I do. Because it's really it's insulting.
Yeah.
It's like an insulting word, but it's not personal. It's not about him as a person. It's about him as a player.
Wasn't good.
Just
catch it.
What are we doing?
Just catch the ball.
You're not going to make it.
No.
I'm sorry. You're not going to make it in this league.
Yeah.
He's got no future in the league.
See, I think
none.
I think, did the team respond? We asked that question at the beginning of the show.
People would trade.
Sorry for bringing the play up. Geez, it was a bad play. As good as this play we're going to talk about. That's how bad
that player. You'd get laughed at and hung up if you call another team.
I don't even think they even entertain shopping him. Like, they're not even going to healthy scratch.
You can't call up other organizations with that on. Hey, Tyquan's available.
Do you know how offensive it would be to call one of the other 31 teams and say, hey, we got this receiver. We're so packed at the position.
Why don't you call and offer someone off your practice squad next? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, my God. But the punt return. So last week they gave a 96-yarder return against them. And we asked at the beginning of the show, was their response? Did you do anything to come back and be more physical? Yeah, we talked about the two phases of the game. But special teams, they cleaned some things up from a week ago. Now, Jets had one good return out to the 50, but you're going to get those every once in a while. The punt return, though, there were some smart things that happened here. Schooler had great positioning, but at the end, right when Marcus Jones decides to take us outside, Schooler had the positioning to where he was going to block the guy in the back. And what he does, he throws both hands up and sort of just walls him off with his body. And that was a smart play, number one, right there. So Jones pops outside. He gets to the sideline. And then right about the 32, 34, he tiptoes where it looks like he's getting ready to step out. And then watch this block right here. Boom! Hasty gets one, levels a guy, and he has the ability to cut back inside. I thought he was gone. And Mark just said this after the game, too. He goes, I'll be better next time. I will score. And I owe Hasty one. Because when he cuts back inside, there's a lane where there's nobody back. You already beat the punter. I think he's the one that got laid out. But Schooler pulls off the block right there. And there's the block by Hasty that springs him to the sideline, as we're watching here on the simulcast. But Marcus Jones' vision on some of these things, because, when I talk to Amendola, when I would talk to Edelman, it takes balls to do a punt return. Like, you got to be crazy in the head, because there's everybody coming down the field, and they're coming at you 20 miles an hour. And you got to pick a lane and hit it and go. You can't hesitate. You hesitate, you're going to get killed. Jones picked it, got to the sideline, and it was like last week. They kicked it down the middle of the field to him. There was no directional kicking there. Another dumb move by the Jets. You got a dangerous punt returner, number 25, and you directly kick it to him. Like, that's a dumb thing teams do. I'd pin this guy on the sideline. This is something Belichick's going to look at tonight. You're going to hear it tomorrow. Yeah, he kicked it right down the middle, Marcus Jones. What do you think he's going to do with it? Kid's got speed. He runs a 4.3. You give him a lane, he's gone. So I think as much as we'll focus on offense and defense today, they cleaned some things up on special teams. That's a good return right there. What it did, gave you a short field. Gives your offense confidence when your backup quarterback's in. Now we don't have to drive it 70 yards like the last winning drive was, That was a big drive, and we'll get to that at some point, but there's just X's and O's.
Good stuff, Zo.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I love that play.
Oh, I just love his speed.
Great
it's just
speed.
so nice to have an explosive player do anything, right? Even if it is on special teams. You want to talk about the offensive line? We'll get to that coming up with what Jerod Mayo said about this offensive line. Why don't we get to it right now, T-Bone, if we have that audio ready? This is from this morning on his conference call.
You had 7 offensive linemen on the field on that play with Thomas and City as the fullback, right? We also saw Lacidus actually on the first play of the game, but he come in and almost like offset there in the backfield. What was the thought process? Obviously, in the last play, you're just power, right? But what was the thought process on using some of the offensive linemen like that?
No, I think you bring up a great point. What was perceived, I would say, earlier on as a weakness on this team has now become a strength, and that has been through, Eliot and his team and the acquisition of guys like Lacidus. And look, Lacidus is one of those guys that practices hard. He's a great professional off the field as well, and we felt good putting those guys in to move the defensive lineman, and they did that.
He's going to regret saying this.
I would add something to that because he's talking about the touchdown at the last play of the game. I would say go back and watch it. The right guard and right tackle both missed blocks. Ramondre Stevens got that himself, even if he got it.
The tape is not friendly to the line.
Owenu
sucks.
And Jacobs
What's going on
missed their
What
blocks.
is going on with Mike Owenu? Can we ask
he hits a good blocks in the game.
Okay, but over the course of this season,
I think
he's not had a good year.
I think it's we playing him at tackle, we playing him at guard.
It's
what
all
are we
over
doing?
the place. You're right.
That's part of it. Yeah, Mike's a good player. But
he hasn't been a good player this year.
On that, I wouldn't draw attention to the power. Like, hey, let's get the extra lineman in the game where we can't even block it, to where our running back's got to run with contact.
Michael Jordan had a big block.
We're excited about our offensive line group.
Yeah, but how about this though? He gives the thanks and praise to Eliot Wolf.
We did get Ben Brown. Ben Brown's a big pickup, man. You didn't have a backup center. You had to cut your backup center because he was so bad. So at least he got Ben Brown. Someone picked him off the Raiders practice squad. I mean,
of all the people you could give some credit to there. Hey, it's been hard for Scott Peters. He's had so many different guys.
There you go.
He's coaching, and he's finding a way to pull this group together. Hey, at AVP, who's been, trying to work with this. Anybody, Ben McAdoo, name anybody. Name the players themselves. Give some credit to the players themselves. He gives credit to the GM.
Well, who's been getting their ass kicked
Of all
more?
the people?
Who's been getting their ass kicked more over these 6 weeks? Eliot Wolf or Scott Peters?
Eliot Wolf.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
I think Jerod hears that.
Eliot Wolf has handed these guys just one street pickup after the next. They have found a way to make it look halfway functional. To their credit, they have. Credit to Scott Peters. Credit to Alex Van Pelt. I'll give those guys credit for this situation with the lack of talent being kind of stable at the moment. Stable enough to go out and play a game and not be a complete disaster like they were earlier in the season. There's absolutely some credit to be giving out. Yeah. But it ain't to the GM.
I talked to multiple people.
way.
Talked to multiple people in the building yesterday, and the excitement that was like Vidarian Lowe was going to play that day. Like, we're at the point, like, that's one of your big strengths, Vidarian Lowe. If you go back to last year.
But are we really going to call it a strength of the team, by the way?
No.
That's insane.
No. I'd say your running back and tight end are the strengths of the team. And quarterback.
Yeah.
Jacoby played well yesterday.
Strength of the team. Perceived. Oh, I'm sorry. It was only perceived to be a weakness?
Yeah, perceived.
Is that how we put it?
Yeah.
Perceived to be a weakness. Huh. Perceived. Even though, again, here he is. Here he is all over the effing map again. Because you know why? Because if he remembered what he said 2 weeks ago, which he's shown an ability to not be able to remember what he even said 2 weeks ago, he said, after going against what he had previously said about the offensive line, was that they needed the offensive line to get to a place where it was okay to play Drake May. So it wasn't just perception, Jerod. You perceived it that way. You thought it stunk. Because it did. Because it was awful. It wasn't some perception that it was a weakness. No. It was a weakness. Your left tackle quit after 12 snaps. You cut Nick Leverett. Was it because it was a perceived weakness or an actual weakness? Was Jacoby Brissett getting killed because it was a perceived weakness or an actual weakness? Come on. It's a strength of the team now. You're right. You know what? You're right. Definitely a strength. All the other teams are now going to have to game plan for that tough offensive line. Strength of the team. Oh, my goodness. This is what happens when you win. You start talking crazy because you got a second win on the season.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.